What's up, y'all? It's been a while, huh? Like what, a month now? Shoot, time flies, huh? I hope y'all been doing alright. As for me, it's been quite a month, so I've been actively working on just trying to live life, taking it day by day so I don't start having mental breakdowns and all that. Anyways, craziest thing happened. So I'm actually adopted. So a couple weeks back, I was working on editing this video you're seeing right now, and I received a notification on my phone. I stopped editing to check what it was, and bruh, when I tell you I made the craziest stink face, thinking that this must have been a joke. So the cautious, overthinking person I am, I carefully read through the contents of the email, making sure I wasn't getting scammed on my credit card and social security number, and holy sh**, it was legit. I received my first partnership offer, and wow, is it a surreal feeling. And I can't thank you guys enough. Never would I have thought that this quiet and reserved dude yapping to a microphone about the thoughts going through his head would gather this much of an audience. And yet, here we are. Maybe dreams are alive after all. If any of y'all have creative aspirations yourself, I encourage you to find an outlet to express it. Who knows? Maybe you'll get a million views ranting about heartbreak. You don't even have to make anything out of it if you don't want to. Sometimes, the act of creative expression is beautiful in of itself. The world could use some of the enigma that is the inner machinations of your mind. And maybe you don't know how to start or where to begin. It can be daunting, right? Why not make things easier for yourself and give Skillshare a try? It's the largest online learning community for those developing their creative aspirations. Let's have Soya Boyo here walk you through it. So you say you want to get creative but don't really know where to begin? I got you. Skillshare got thousands of classes led by industry experts across all kinds of creative fields. Your pictures and videos look like this? Say less. Film and photography classes. Your drawings look like this but you want to look like this? I got you. Art and graphic design classes. Or maybe you're feeling entrepreneurial and want to lock in. Boom! Business and productivity classes. I may or may not do a face reveal if I get a silver play button, and I'm not trying to look like a clad potato on video, so I'm gonna be taking MKBHD's classes myself. Maybe you're unga bunga like me for real and get analysis paralysis from the countless selection of classes. Don't worry about it. Just use Skillshare's learning paths. They pick out classes for you and walk you through developing a specific skill step by step. Still not on board with Skillshare? I got you. The first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial so you can test it out for yourself. You better move quick and start today before someone takes your spot. True story, that's what I did with another YouTuber's link a couple years back to improve my drawing skills. I can make stuff like this now. Thank you Skillshare for sponsoring this video. And thank you, the person watching right now, for bringing me up to this point. Virtually dap me up, homie. I'ma just preface this by saying I'm probably a minority here. This is probably just gonna end up with me yapping and people commenting, yeah, no, this one ain't it, chief. But that's okay. My age low-key gonna show. But shit, if that's the case, I'ma stand on business and say that I can't keep up with y'all youngins no more. Texting in this generation is kinda dumb. Let me just start off by saying, I hate texting. I really only text to send updates or let someone know of something urgent, or if I'm trying to make plans to meet up in person. If I can help it, I'd rather not text to converse. I'd much rather have a conversation, in person, or at the very least, in real time, because it actually feels more organic and authentic that way. Anyways, I text like an unk, bruh. This be my texting loadout. Autocorrect. On. First letter of every message, or after a period, capitalized. Abbreviations for words? 0. Amen. It's faster for me to type out the whole word than to think of how to abbreviate it. Total text bubbles sent to get my message across? 1 or 2. You know how y'all youngins be texting? Autocorrect. Off. Abbreviations. Hella.
Yes,
Sometimes I'd be having a stroke trying to decipher y'all's messages. All the letters in your text in lowercase. Oh, can't forget the space after an exclamation or question mark. Skull or crying emojis sent every other text message. Total text bubbles sent to get your message across? 1 if you're hella dry and nonchalant, or 10 if you're trying to be expressive, getting bombarded by the message notification sound type shit. Alright, let's talk about the thing that triggers almost everybody. We've all been there before. You're texting someone and the replies are instantaneous. You send one text and you see the little dots that show they're typing. It actually feels like you guys are having a conversation. And all of a sudden, they stop replying. And it's not necessarily because the conversation died down. Matter of fact, maybe you were really engaged in a conversation and even asked some questions. But then 5 minutes goes by and still no reply. So you put your phone away and proceed to do other things. And you may be doing other things but you're still kind of distracted because in the back of your head, you're still thinking about that conversation you had that ended abruptly. You know when you're watching a show you're really invested in and they leave it off a cliffhanger, so now you're itching to know what happens next? Yeah, you get that same feeling as you wait for the response. And then 20 minutes goes by. As you're doing your own thing, you periodically check your phone, as if doing so will magically make them reply. Or maybe you're coping that you just didn't hear the notification. And then an hour goes by. At this point, you've been moved on from the conversation already, and it's no longer living rent-free in your head. But guess what? Oh, and there's the reply. And I get it. People are busy and have other things going on in their lives. You can't expect people to cater to your time with instant replies. Absolutely valid point. But at least have the courtesy to let the person know, hey, I'd like to talk more, but I gotta go now. I'll talk to you later. Sorry for the late reply, I had to go to work. Bruh, this shit boring as hell. I'd rather do other things with my time than talk to you. It literally takes seconds to type that out. Imagine you're talking with someone in person and mid-conversation they just get up and walk out without saying a single thing. I don't know about y'all, but ain't that mad disrespectful? Is it not proper manners to let the person know that you have to leave? Why can't that same logic be carried over when having a conversation through text? You're still talking to a human being, are you not? What makes it any different? The fact that you're able to hide behind a screen and therefore aren't faced with the social repercussions of not being a good communicator? And to be clear, I'm not talking about casual texting where you're sending memes or texting just to text. I think it's pretty obvious to distinguish the difference between texting to actually talk to someone and texting just to be a little gremlin. Alright, hot take. Talking to someone primarily through text is like being in a situationship. I know, you're probably thinking, what the f does that even mean? So you think I'm stupid, huh? Well, I am. But at least hear me out. There is no commitment when texting. When you're talking to someone in person, you're kind of committed to engaging with them because, imagine being in this scenario. Yo, what are you doing here, man?
Two hours later.
Oh hey, what's up, man? With texting, you can reply whenever you want. Don't know how to word something? Just delete that paragraph 5 different times until you're finally satisfied with what you're about to send. Don't feel like responding at the moment? Just leave them undelivered until you feel like responding. Or you completely forget altogether and enough time has passed that would feel awkward to reply. But then it would also feel rude to ignore them and start a new conversation, so you just end up unintentionally ghosting them. You get the benefits of talking to someone or cutting them off whenever you want, at your own convenience, at the expense of the other person. Just like a specific circumstance where one person enjoys the benefits of intimacy without the commitment at the expense of the other. Texting is filled with ambiguity. You can never truly know what's going on the other side of that screen. Are they actually laughing when they send those skull emojis? Or are they typing it out with a face as dead as the very emojis they're sending? Were they actually busy? Or did they make up an excuse because they were just not interested enough to continue talking to you? Do they actually mean what they say, or are they just saying that because it's easy to type it out? If you're an anxious and insecure person, which, let's be real, all of us are to some extent, then these kinds of thoughts pop up from time to time. And if you're an overthinker, then Lord have mercy on your soul. Because you're probably out here calling over the council to help you overanalyze the meaning behind every single text bubble. Are they mad or are they just a dry texter? Based on the context of the last 3 text bubbles, I propose the idea that you may have made them mad because they were sending emojis and now they're not. So much is left to interpretation. You know, just like a specific circumstance where you're receiving intimacy and signs that things could potentially go into a good direction, but not enough to actually take that leap. Okay, I was half joking, but I think you get the point. This is the reason why I'd rather allocate a set amount of time in my schedule where I can give my full attention and engagement to talking to someone in person, or at the very least, phone call. But I think that brings up a separate, but not unrelated issue. Our generation has socialization and communication issues. We've heard it all before and are probably all aware of it. It's a damn phone. Social media is ruining everything. Brain rot is doing exactly as the name suggests. Rotting your brain, yada yada yada. But it's true. We have a maladaptive relationship with technology as a result of it advancing at a rate faster than we can develop proper coping mechanisms for. And so, instead of using technology to further advance our quality of life, we've become enslaved by it and are brought back down to our primal desires. Technology has made pretty much every aspect of life far more convenient. Don't want to go out to buy stuff? Amazon. Your fat ass wants to continue being a fat ass by eating food and not moving? DoorDash. You're bored and want a hit of dopamine? Scroll through Reels. You want to satisfy your biological needs as a social creature without the hassles that come with socialization? Hide behind your screen and live in the online world. Here's the thing. Socialization and building meaningful relationships is hard and uncomfortable. Fear of rejection and making a fool of yourself, building trust, being vulnerable. communicating openly, confrontation, having the interpersonal skills to behave like a decent human being and work out conflicts. These are all parts of building meaningful relationships with others, and they're terrifying and take a lot of effort, which we, as a result of technology, are no longer accustomed to. But biologically, we as social creatures need each other, which is why we have a huge issue with loneliness and isolation today. We cling to our phones and plug into the online world thinking that'll fulfill our needs for socialization and connection in a far more convenient manner. But clearly it's not working. Because, have you seen how cooked our generation is when it comes to our ability to form relationships both romantically and platonically? And why is that? Because we aren't putting ourselves in enough situations to exercise and develop our interpersonal relationship skills. Sure, we might text and socialize in the digital realm, but that's not giving us the full experience that comes with socializing in a context that involves grass. In the online world, everything is done within your personal convenience. If you don't feel like talking to someone, you don't have to. Just ignore them and pretend you're busy or hang up from the Discord call. If you're angry and want to shit talk someone, you have free reign to because you can hide behind the comfort of your screen. What are they gonna do about it? Digitally punch you in the face? When something inconvenient arises, there's so many avenues to escape from it and go back to a place of comfort. And it makes me wonder, when we've habituated ourselves to retreating to a place of comfort whenever something inconvenient arises, how will that affect our ability to form relationships with others? What will we do when someone is treating us poorly and we need to stand up for ourselves? What will we do when we need to confront someone? How will we react when we have a conflict with others? Do we act as our most authentic selves, or do we put on a mask so as to avoid being disliked? Which one will truly make us feel loved and connected? And this isn't to say that the digital world is bad and that you can't build a relationship with people online. There's this concept called being in a long-distance relationship or keeping in touch with friends who are on the other side of the world. But I'd argue that the people that do succeed in those circumstances have already developed good interpersonal relationship skills that allow them to continue building that relationship even in an online context. Unfortunately, most people haven't developed that skill enough, and the digital world isn't necessarily the best place to develop that. Matter of fact, I think our texting habits are both a reflection of the lack of good interpersonal relationship skills, as well as something that's further preventing us from developing it. Here's a little inventory assessment. Can you dial up someone right now and just have a conversation with them? Can you just go up to a random stranger and compliment them or strike up small talk? Can you be vulnerable and open up to someone about something you're going through? Can you communicate openly without beating around the bush? Can you confront someone about a problem and work through a conflict? Some of these things we might be able to do no problem. Others we might be more hesitant about. And to some extent, I think a bit of anxiety is par for the course. But if you have an averse reaction to one or more of these things, then I think that's an indication that there's room for growth in that area. And that's okay. I think we all collectively crave authenticity and genuine connection, but are afraid of coming off as weird or overwhelming or scaring off the other person. But come on now. We all know that the deep shit is where all the substance is. Those 3 a.m. existential talks about life and the future is where it's at. And that's why it's important to develop your interpersonal relationship skills. Because authentic and meaningful relationships aren't built overnight. They take time, communication, patience, and trust. How do you go about developing that? Shit, that's a whole separate beast to tackle altogether. But let's be real here. Deep down, we already kind of know how. At the most basic foundation, it's developed in the places and circumstances we're desperately trying to avoid. So the simple answer is, stop avoiding it. Go call up that friend. Say hello to that classmate you've never talked to before. Compliment a stranger. Chip away at the phobia that's holding you back from having an authentic connection with others. One step at a time. Damn. How'd I go from ranting about texting to talking about communication and interpersonal relationships? My fault, y'all, I'm just fed up. In short, I hope y'all find real ones that you can be your truest self with, if you haven't already. But also, remember to put in the work because it's a two-way street. You can't expect to have real ones if you aren't a real one yourself. And if you already have homies like that, then cherish them, cause I think they're hard to come by these days. Alright, rant over. Take care guys, see you next time.